Hey guys, good morning. How are you? Hope you're well. I'm doing really good. It's a beautiful Wednesday out where I live. I hope that it's a beautiful day out where you live also. I hope that you're well. I hope your families are well. It's just a real blessing to be able to spend time with all of you and be able to talk data science with you. I can't tell you how passionate I am about data science. So anytime I get a chance to talk with you guys, it's really nice to be able to just enjoy that part of my life and share it with all of you. So I hope that you're well. And also, I want to welcome all of the new users, all of the new followers that are going to be joining us on these streams. Believe it or not, guys, last Saturday, I was at 14,000 on Instagram. And today I'm at 20,000 plus as of this morning. And I think I've also about doubled on YouTube, because on YouTube I have a lot fewer people. But so on both platforms, I am expecting that there's going to be a lot of new followers, a lot of new visitors. So if this is your first time to the stream, welcome. You're not alone. There's a lot of new people. We've seen a lot of new people over the past few days. So the way I like to run my streams is, first of all, this is the world's first and only daily data science stream. And I'm willing to take on all of your questions. We can talk about really just about anything you want, whether it's jobs or studying or technologies or approaches, companies, whatever you'd like. I mean, I'm comfortable talking about all of those. And I'm really just here to give you guys the real world view into data science. Real world view of being able to give you guys, kind of what's out there in the real world, what's expected of you when you're actually a data scientist, and also how to get there, because I know that the path to being a data scientist isn't always clear. So one of the things you should also know is I also like to start off with my global roll call. I ask people to introduce themselves. Just let us know your city, state, country, province. I always like to hear where people are from. It makes the chat feel more inclusive and also gives you a chance to participate without having to be a technical person. And then while I'm waiting for my chat to fill up, I also do an opening note where I provide some general thoughts for you guys to think about. And you can choose to comment on that, or you can choose to message me about it later, or whatever you'd like. But this is the way I kind of like to, run the streams. And that way, it kind of flows easily. And we also keep things professional. Guys, by the way, another reason I ask people to, introduce themselves is because it also adds a professional tone, not just to the chat, but in also how you conduct yourself and how you carry yourself. That's super important when you're talking about data science, right? Because remember, when you're a data scientist, when you're working as a data scientist for a company, you're putting yourself out there as a scientist, as a schooled, as an educated professional, right? So how you carry yourself and how you introduce yourself, how you communicate is very important in that regard, right? It's hard to take somebody seriously as a scientist if they don't know how to introduce themselves, if they don't know how to run a meeting, if they don't know how to properly write an email, right? So that's another reason why I ask people to introduce themselves, just to kind of set that tone right from the very beginning when it comes to how we treat each other and how we all participate in the chat. So while I wait for my chat to fill up, and I'm already seeing plenty of messages in the chat, thank you so much, I'd like to give an opening note. And today I'd like to talk about, investing in yourself. And this note came up in my mind because I often get messages from any number of people saying, oh, should I buy this book? I saw this book on Amazon and it seems pretty good. Or what do you think about, me getting this computer? Or, little things like that, right? Where people are just asking me like, oh, is this book any good? Now, on the one hand, I understand that people have to watch their budgets, and in some parts of the world, some books are very expensive. So I'm not ignorant to that. But at the same time, I want you to realize that a true professional invests in their continued learning. A true professional invests in themselves, keeping up with the latest in the industry and in the trends, right? Because you're not just a professional for yourself, you're a professional for the industry, right? So a doctor doesn't hesitate to go out and buy new tools or new books that they need. It's part of their profession. It'll benefit them and their patients in some way, right? Or just like a lawyer who may maintain a lot of subscriptions to quarterly updates or legal journals or things along those lines, right? They don't hesitate to do that because it's part of their profession. It's what they do not just for a living, but for their lifestyle, right? And that's something that personally I adopted, particularly during the pandemic. During the pandemic, when we were all sitting at home and all that, I really made the commitment that I was going to invest more in myself. I was going to start betting more on myself. And that's something I decided to do because, one, I was already, well into my data science career. But two, I realized the benefits of that self-development because not every company is going to give you good training. Not every skill set that you have now is going to be ready for the future. You might have to invest in keeping your own skills, your own knowledge up to date, right? So that's one of the things that I want to encourage you to think about. If there's a good book out there or something that, you want to get a new computer or something that you think is going to help you in your profession, don't hesitate. Do it. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself that you can find those resources and use those resources to the best you can. Now, of course, you guys know that I'm very much against these idiot influencers who sell these courses and all those shortcuts. So definitely don't spend your money on that. But if there is a legitimate source out there or other things you want to do, bet on yourself. Do it. Invest in yourself. A professional does not hesitate to say, hey, this is a new tool. This is a new development. I need to be up on this. So let me get it because, this is part of my professional life, my professional dedication, right? So, like I said, I do it too. When I see the chance to, get a new book or, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So, if I had a chance to buy a new audiobook or something else, or, get myself a new computer, I've been buying a lot of hardware to get myself ready for these streams and for all the content that I do, different services that I belong to for the content. So I just do it because I'm betting on myself. I know I can do it. It's part of my profession now. So you have to do it, right? So I want to give you guys that encouragement to invest in yourselves, invest in your profession. If you're doing it for the right reasons, if you're taking the time to go after those good resources, I think it'll be worth it for you in the long run, okay? So thank you so much for that. I'm already seeing the chat filling up, so good to see all the people. And again, if you're new, welcome. If you just joined us, we ask you to please let us know your city, state, country, province. Just let us know where you're from. It's nice to see the global data science community, okay? Rohan, reclaiming his place at the top. For those of you who don't know, Rohan has been very avid about being first. So Rohan, you're back on top, my friend. Congratulations. It's good to see you, Rohan. Thanks for being such a loyal supporter. Garvit says, hello, Dennis. Hey, Garvit, let us know where you're from, okay? Indrani? Indrani? Hey, Indrani, good to see you. Let us know where you're from, okay? Just give us your city, state, country, province. Appreciate it, okay? Alpha says it's unable to log in the pin. Sorry, Alpha, I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to. Could you please clarify? Rex says, good morning, everyone, from a sunny day in New York City. Nice. Very cool. Rex, welcome. Rex is one of our moderators on Twitch and on Discord. So give a shout out to Rex if you see him. I really appreciate their volunteer work. Yeah, beautiful days in New York City, sunny days in New York City in September. Can't beat it. Beautiful weather out there. The trees are starting to turn and all that. New York City in September is gorgeous. So hope you're having a good time over there. Sarath Chandrika, so good to see you, Sarath. Welcome back. Good morning, Dennis. Back here again. Congrats on 20K over Insta. Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much. It's been 6,000 users in the last 10 days, which is incredible. Incredible. So if you guys are new, you're not alone. Plenty of new people. But yeah, quite a bit of explosive growth on Instagram. I'll tell you guys a funny story. I haven't really told this story because there really hasn't been a venue for it. But I started on May 1st. Now that's my official start date of all my social media stuff. And I know that date because I was under contracts to clients about, what I could and what I couldn't post on social media. I don't know if you guys realize that, but most large clients will put you under social media policy. So May 1st was my first day when I was no longer under a social media policy. So I know that for a fact that I started May 1st. And I started from zero. And I was posting. Nobody basically watched my content. Like I literally had like 3 followers. That's it for most of May. And I remember that I went to a ballet recital. My niece is a ballerina. She's a very good ballerina. So I went to a ballet recital in Phoenix. I went to go visit my sister because they live in Phoenix. And in the middle of the recital, I had my phone off, obviously. I had it on vibrate. In the middle of the recital, my phone just starts going crazy. Like it starts vibrating like crazy in my pocket. So I'm sitting there in the middle of this recital and my phone is just going crazy. And they don't let you check your phone during those recitals, right? Because, the room is dark and the light's distracting and all that. And she's a very serious ballerina, so it's a very serious performance and all that. So I finally go outside to check it, and my phone was like filled with these notifications because one of my posts for some reason had gone viral. And I remember that weekend alone, I got like 1,000 new followers. So I literally went from like 3 followers to like 1,000 in one weekend when I was on this trip to go see my niece and my sister and her family and all that. So that was the first time where like it really took off. And then from there, it's just been growing and growing and growing. So, and this is all just back in May, guys. Like I feel like it was yesterday. But yeah, thank you so much for Surround for being part of that growth, and thank you to all of you for your support. But it's just it's been crazy. Things happen on social media that you just don't expect. But like I said, that weekend in Phoenix, I went from like literally like 3 followers to like 1,000 in a single weekend. It was crazy. Rahul, our good friend, Rahul says, "Yo, Dennis, I get in early." You did. You're here super early. You usually here for the second half, so you're super early, Rahul. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Let us know how you're doing out there in India. Warrior Spirit 48 says, "I want to become data science engineer. Give me some tips." Okay. All right, guys. So let's use this as a little bit of a learning experience, okay? Not trying to pick on anybody in particular, all right? But one, as I mentioned earlier, we ask people to introduce themselves to keep a professional tone to the chat, and also to help you develop your skills as far as how you present yourself, how you carry yourself. Super important things in a corporate environment, right? And I also say this because if you don't develop these skills, there will be a very, very, very hard ceiling to how far you can advance in your career, even if you are a data scientist, right? A lot of doors, a lot of advancement won't be open to you if you're not able to present yourself in a professional way, right? Part of being a professional, part of communicating properly, is also saying please and thank you, right? And another part of being a professional is being able to read the room, right? That whole thing about, the first person to speak loses, right? You got to walk into a room, understand the situation, and then you contribute, right? So right now we're doing the global roll call, right? I usually do that, and then I go ahead and ask questions. Then I go ahead and answer questions, all right? So these types of messages, when I see these, I see those as a learning opportunity where people can, kind of take their skills where they're at now and elevate them, all right? Please and thank you go a long way. Introduce yourself, right? A professional introduces themselves, right? And read the room, right? Understand, what we're doing. And, build on that, right? It's important to practice these skills, guys, because if you can't practice them now, like, when in your everyday life, you're not going to do much better when you go for that interview, when you get that job, when you go for that promotion, right? So, just keep that in mind, guys, that you got to build these skills Because if you don't, even if you do become a data scientist, there's going to be a ceiling to your advancement, right? So Garvit, did you tell us where you were from? I can't remember if this is your first time. Let us know where you're from, Garvit. I'll come back to your question. I still want to do the roll call, okay? Rizwan, I'll come back to your question. Let us know where you're from, okay? Rex says, congrats on the community growth. Thank you, Rex. I appreciate that. And you've been an early supporter, Rex, so I appreciate you and all the other early supporters. Really appreciate it. I see quite a few of the early supporters in the chat, so thank you so much for that. Speaking of early supporters, my good friend Yassine. Hello, sir. Yassine from Tangier, Morocco. Good to see you, Yassine. Hope you're doing well in school out there. Probably not the only Moroccan in the chat. One of the funny themes in my live streams is that I get a lot of Moroccans for some reason. So if you're from Morocco, you're not alone. Yassine is just the first one to say they're from Morocco. Beautiful country, by the way. Beautiful country. Good people in Morocco. Good food in Morocco too. Actually, maybe we're gonna work something out here, Yassine. But you know what, guys? Now that I think about it, the last time I was in Morocco, I went to a supermarket. Nothing special, just the Carrefour. One of the Carrefours in Marrakesh, and I got this hot pepper. I think it was called piment forte, right, in French or whatever, right? And it's this hot red pepper, and I love it. I put it on everything. I put it on my eggs. I put it in my soup. I put it on a bunch of things, right? Like, it's a really good hot pepper, and super spicy, right? Because I like spicy stuff. Like, most stuff I buy isn't hot enough, but this is enough, right? And I moved it from its original little bag to a container, and my container's running low. And I'm going to be really sad when I run out of that piment fort. So, maybe we're going to work something out here, Yassine, if you can send me some of that. But it's such a good pepper. I mean, Morocco has some really good spices. Yeah, a beautiful country out there. Okay, so Garvit says, hello Dennis, Garvit from Delhi, India. Nice, very cool. I'm not sure how many viewers I get from Delhi. Obviously a lot from India, but not a lot from Delhi. So thanks so much for being here, Garvit. Rahul, yep, Rahul, I remember that you're from Pradesh, India. So thanks so much for the introduction. Really appreciate you being here, Rahul. Sarath says, Sarath, you're asking a good question. Let me come back because I want to get the global roll call, get everybody a chance to let us know their city, state, country, okay? Indrani says, are we live on YouTube simultaneously? Yes, we are. I push out on multiple platforms. I push out on Kick, Twitch, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and Instagram. Yeah, I push out on 6 platforms. I'm giving a lot of thought to dropping X. I think I might just give up on the X platform. There's so many weird things being posted, and people just post for engagement. What they call the shit posting. I don't know if X is a platform I want to be on anymore. I think I'm giving serious consideration to only posting on Instagram and YouTube, and I'll still push my video on Kick and Twitch. Because on Twitch, I'm building a following without even trying. I just push out my tube and people join, which is crazy. I don't do anything else on Twitch. But yeah, I do push out on simultaneous platforms, Rennie. Junaid? No. Junaid? I'm just going to call you Junaid. Let us know where you're from, okay? Ahab says, hello, Dennis and chat. Hey, Ahab, nice to see you. Ahab, I know you're also a great participant on our Discord, so thank you so much for that. If you guys want to participate on our Discord, maybe you have other questions, or, hey, you know what? Not every answer has to come from me. The community can also help you, right? So feel free to go to Discord. The link should be pinned in your respective chats. Click on that, join us. We have a lot of good members on there. We keep the talk, really interesting and professional. Ahab is one of our great members. Lots of people in the chat post on there. Yassine's one of our great members. So feel free to join there. Maybe you need more help beyond the chats, or you're in a different time zone and you want to participate at different times. Go ahead and go to the Discord. Really good resource there for you. But thanks for being here, Ahab. Salverdun, let us know where you're from, okay? Rohit Rathod says, hi, how are you? I'm doing well, Rohit. Thank you so much. I'm doing well. Beautiful day out. It's getting to be a little bit more warm where I live. But I hope you're doing well. I know that this isn't your first time here, so thank you for coming back. Manoj, our good friend Manoj says, good morning, sir and all from Bangalore, India. Nice. I like how you also greet the chat. Yes. Good morning, sir and all. Yeah, Manoj, I hope you're doing well out there in Bangalore. Has it cooled down in India yet? Because I know you guys had a super hot summer, right? And I think Bangalore is a pretty good measurement for how the rest of India is doing. So let us know. Has it cooled down out there? I'm curious. Naveen says, hey, Dennis, good morning. Hey, Naveen, good to see you. It's getting chilly, to be honest. Naveen, is that in India? I can't remember what part you're from. Let me know. Yep, I might come back to your question. Let us know where you're from, okay? Garvit, let me come back to your question. I want to make sure I get the I want to make sure I get all of the people identifying their location and stuff, okay? Yassine says your opening notes are very inspiring. I think they should have a special playlist in YouTube. Thank you for that, Yassine. I try to make them special. I have considered that, and I think I've turned one into its own video. I can't remember. There was one in particular that I really liked, and I made its own video, but I can't remember what it is now. So yeah, I have considered that. I just don't have the time, unfortunately. I guess that if I grow enough, maybe I'll hire an editor at some point. But I just don't have the time. Because I got to do this, I got to do other content, I got to work with my clients, I got to do my own writing. It's hard. I just don't have the time. But I hear you, and I've thought about it. It would be nice. It would be nice to do that. Casual Economist says, good morning. Good morning to you too, man. Hope you're doing well. Where was it? Was it Minneapolis? I hope you're doing well out there in Minneapolis. Ahab says, oh no, Don Dennis Corleone is out. What? I'm not sure I understand there, Ahab. Are you saying that I'm out of pepper? You're in Morocco too, right? Maybe you can send me some of that pepper. It's so good. It's the really good pepper. Rahul says, I'm mostly on YouTube, so you can say I'm learning deep learning. I'm learning deep learning yet, so I'll let you know when I get into Instagram. So pretty sober. Nice. That's right. I think Rahul has a rule that he only goes on Instagram when he's been drinking. So thanks for the update. Thanks for the update there, Rahul. Manaz D says, hello. Hey, Manaz. Nice to see you. I don't think it's your first time here. If it is, welcome. Let us know where you're from, Manaz. Leo, our good friend Leo, and also another great participant on our Discord. Hey guys, a bit late today. Hope everyone is doing well. Well, hope you're doing well too, Leo. So by the way, guys, again, speaking of Discord, Leo is also looking for people who want to participate in Kaggle projects together or talk about data science competitions. So if that interests you, Leo's a good guy to get in touch with. He's on Discord. We have a whole separate channel just for data science competitions. So if you want to contribute there, please do so. Lots of people are interested, so we welcome your participation, okay? MS says, hey MS, let us know where you're from, please. Taha, I'm going to come back to your question, but in the meantime, let us know where you're from. Just let us know your city, state, province. Just introduce yourself to the chat, okay? Let's keep everything inclusive. Leo says, Dennis, finished your book. I recommend to everyone easy reading, dynamic topics, and powerful insights for apprentices. Oh, thank you so much, Leo. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I put a lot of work into it, and I try to write in a style that's digestible for everyone. So thank you so much, Leo. Really appreciate that feedback. Writing a book is not easy. Not easy. I used to write books before, guys. I don't know if you guys know this, but back in the early 2000s, I actually co-authored 3 books, and I hated the process. It was so tough, but I did it for you guys. I did it because I love data science. I wanted to get part of my legacy out there. So Leo, when you give me that type of feedback, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Book is called Your First Year in Data Science. It's available in every market worldwide. In the Indian market, I'm less than 500 rupees, which I've been told is affordable. Just this morning, I got some feedback from somebody in the Middle East, and initially they thought they couldn't get the book, but I had advised them to go to like amazon.co.uk or one of the other Amazon sites. And on those Amazon sites, you can get the ebook, you can purchase the ebook and, you'll get it right away. In the Middle East, I am priced between $8 to $10 USD, which I'm also told is affordable. That's the feedback I was given. So no matter where you are in the world, as long as you go to a valid Amazon storefront, it doesn't have to be in your country because maybe your country doesn't have a storefront. You can go pay for the ebook. It should be accessible pricing for most countries, and you can read it that way. You can get it right away. So thank you so much for your support on that. Yassine says, yes, absolutely. Okay, Yassine, we're going to talk sometime. When I'm out of that pepper, I'm going to ask you to send me some from Morocco. Would love some more of that. Ilian? I think it's Ilyana. Ilyana says, hi, I'm from India, but I mostly grew up in Southeast Asia, mainly Brunei. Cool. Welcome, Ilyana. Nice to see you. I think it's your first time, so welcome. Welcome to the chat. Shashank says, great content. Thank you. Thank you. I try. I'm trying to give you guys real world advice that, basically no one else out there is doing. So I try. Thank you so much. Let us know where you're from, Shashank. Manoj says, yes, it's cool here. Yeah, okay. I figure it's cooling down in India. So glad to hear that. It was in reference to the Godfather reel you posted and how you just responded to the person who didn't read the look, guys, sometimes you may hear a firm tone in my voice, right? I get that. But ultimately, I'm trying to lead to a better chat, a more professional chat, right? As you guys can tell, I'm not doing like game streaming here or things like that. I try to talk about a professional subject. And I'm trying to do that because, again, data science is a serious profession, right? I love this stuff, and so I don't want to do it in a cheap way because then it cheapens my profession. Like, this is what I've dedicated my life to, right? So I don't want to cheapen my own profession. So yes, sometimes the Don Corleone does come out, but I think, it's also trying to help you guys understand what's expected of you, once you are a professional in the field. So I appreciate the feedback, Ahab. I like taking in that type of feedback. But yeah, let's try to keep things above the fray, right? And part of that is introducing yourself, knowing how to carry yourself. I'm telling you guys because I've seen this, right? Like when you're in the corporate environment, and let me take a step back on this, and I'll tell you another reason why this is important to me, guys. I have a video coming up. Because you guys know I have this de-influencing data science series that I'm super proud of. And I have a video coming up that talks about how, if you read everything on social media and the ideas that you might have formed in your mind, you're going to think that everybody loves data science, right? Like, that's probably what you think, right? All the influencers out there. Oh yeah, there's all these great jobs and you'll get hired and they'll pay you a lot of money. And, it's a great job, it's job secured. Go for it. Data science is where it's at, right? And, I'm going to tell you, that's like 60% true. Only 60% true. If you think you're going to walk into a company and everybody loves data science and they're going to love your work, and yeah, that algorithm sounds great, let's do it, you're in for a surprise. Not everybody loves data science. Not everybody's going to say, okay, yeah, your algorithm says let's go, then we should go. You're going to get pushback. You're going to get pushback from people saying, fuck you, I don't believe your algorithm. You're telling me I should change my sales process just because you fucking math nerds say to change it? No way, get out of my conference room. You're going to get that, guys. Real talk, you're going to get that. That happens. Not everybody loves data science. Not everybody's just going to take you at face value and says, well, he said that the algorithm is going to work. Let's try it. You're going to get people who are going to take you to task. You're going to get people who say, I don't believe you. Prove it. Right? So part of that, again, is how you carry yourself, how you run your meetings, how you present yourself. Do you want like a director or a managing director to say, you're telling me that guy who calls me bro is telling me that I should change my process because of an algorithm he wrote? Forget that guy. I'm not going to do that. They're going to say that. You're going to be talking to some serious people who've been in business longer than you've been alive, and now you're telling them to change their process because of an algorithm, and you run your meetings in a sloppy way. Like, that's not going to go well, right? So I have this whole video coming up on that because I think that's a really important topic. Nobody's talking about that. Just because you walk in and you're the new data scientist doesn't mean everybody's going to love you. Like, I had to do that a ton early on in my career. Because so many people, and quite frankly, a lot of the stuff I'm telling you is also driven by other people's fears, right? Because you're messing with the core of their business. Like, you're going to go in there and challenge a lot of their perceptions about their business. That's scary for a lot of people, right? If you look at it from their perspective, right, that's scary for them. Right? Like, what do you mean? I built my business doing this, and now you're telling me I got to change it? Like, that's crazy, right? So how you carry yourself, how you present yourself is going to add to that conviction to be able to say, hey, I'm a professional scientist. I've done my work in a methodical way. I followed a scientifically defensible process, and here's what I'd like to recommend to you. Everything that you've projected from yourself up to that point is going to help you sell that idea or not. Because again, not everybody loves data science, right? So I hope that, kind of maybe sets a little bit more framework around why I ask these things of you, because it matters. It really does matter how you carry yourself. Casual Economist says, I might change over to LinkedIn and watch Act All Professional for everyone to see. Yeah, maybe. maybe that's a good idea. Yeah, real professionals watch on LinkedIn. Hemant says, hey Hemant, let us know where you're from, okay? Satya says, I'm a good editor. Okay, guys, here's the thing. Everybody says they're a good editor. I've got my Instagram messages are filled with like 20 people who tell me they're a good editor. About 10 of them have read the same book or taken the same cheap course that tells them how to write an email, because like 10 of them have written me the exact same email. So that's the problem with editors. Like, everybody says they're a good editor. Nobody says, hey, I'm a middle of the road editor. Hey, I'm a kind of sort of average editor. Please hire me, right? Everybody says they're a good editor. Ajinkya says, hey Ajinkya, let us know where you're from, okay? Oh, Ajinkya says, hope you're doing well. I am a master's student working and BU. I don't know if your message you got cut off there, or if that's a company initials. Let me know. I think your message might get cut off. Mathwarp says, hi Dennis and everyone in the chat. Alex here from the UK. Hey Alex, welcome. I think this is your first time. I don't think I've seen you before. So if it's your first time, welcome. Hope you're doing well out there in the UK. Nishant says, hey Dennis, I'm studying a master's in data science from DePaul University in Chicago and have one more year to go. Very cool. Very cool. Chicago's an interesting city. I've done a couple of contracts in Chicago. Very interesting city. Yeah, hope you're doing well, Nishant. I have no idea what the curriculum is like at DePaul. I know that's generally speaking, that's a good school, but I hope you're doing well out there. Garbett says, Garbett, let me come back to your question, okay? If you're joining us late, we still have people telling us their city, state, country, province. Just let us know where you're from. D says, I love to hear the F word from you. Is that against the rules in YouTube? I don't even know. Like, is YouTube going to flag me for that? I don't even know. But guys, it happens. It happens. If you think it's going to be all roses when you walk in and you talk to these directors and managing directors and you're trying to tell them how you're going to change their process because the algorithm said so, you're in for some hard truths. In fact, if you guys like, you guys know that I did an interview series in August. All of my director and managing director friends came and talked to us. So don't just hear it from me. Go back and listen to the interview with my friend Laura Sell. And she talked about this. She talked about how sometimes there's hard conversations. And there are some very difficult conversations out there that you're going to have. I've had them too. I promise you, you are going to have calls where people will beat you up. They will beat you up. I used to work in internal audit where you're basically, keeping an eye on other departments, on their processes. And you as an auditor might be new to the company, but the people that you're auditing, they're not new. They've been with the company for years. And if you don't think that they look you up in the global directory before talking with you, and they say, oh, look at this guy, he only joined last year. That's fresh meat for my meeting. They're going to know that you're new and they're going to beat you up. I kid you not, that's going to happen. So again, the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, the way you write, super important, guys. Super important. So yeah, I had to use the F word for the emphasis because it happens. It happens. You're going to tell a 20-year managing director that he's wrong? You think he's going to let you do that? Urganesh, let us know where you're from, okay? So Nishant from DePaul says, I'm anxious about all the content that's available. I am done with advanced data analysis and machine learning and built some decent projects. What would you suggest to learn more for end-to-end projects? Excuse me. For end-to-end projects, you don't mention about your methodology. What does your methodology look like? Do you feel strong on your methodology? Because if you don't, then you're probably not ready, right? Machine learning is a tool, not a methodology. So you want to make sure that you're ready for that. Like, how do you use data science? Why would you use certain processes? When you do that, then the projects just kind of appear, right? Because you got to develop that methodology mindset because that's the scientific mindset. And if you can do that, then just by you like reading an article or coming across something, you might say, well, that article said this, but that doesn't sound right. And it doesn't sound right because you would need this data to prove it. So how did they get that? Oh, wait a minute. I think I can add to that. I can do this and this, right? But you got to develop that mindset of how to break things down and break down projects. But if you do that, if you successfully think about the scientific method and what it means for data science, then you're on your way where like the projects will just come to you because then you'll be like, oh yeah, this article could be interesting about this, or I read this thing. And I'm not even talking about complex things. I'm talking about things that you'll just pick up in the news or an article you'll read in a sports website or something. They kind of start coming to you just because, you kind of see things, right? Like, I'll give you an example of this. Like, one of the reasons data science interested me from the beginning is because I've always been good with numbers and probabilities. Probabilities have always just kind of fascinated me, right? So one of the early articles that I wrote, because I tell you guys, make sure you publish things, get yourself in the practice of putting things out there. One of the first articles I wrote was about a lottery that I read about online. And I read about the lottery. I think I read about like in a news article or something like that. And then I thought, oh, okay, let me research this a little further. And then you end up going into the terms and conditions. And I sat, you know how like the terms and conditions are like this long ass thing, right? I went and I read it. And deep in the terms and conditions, they gave the prizes and their estimated participants. And I thought, wait a minute, prizes and estimated participants? Well, that's a probability. And if I can come up with a probability, I can come up with an expected value, right? But you got to be curious. You got to know to do that, right? You got to be able to recognize it when you see the numbers and say, oh, wait a minute, this is a data science thing. I can do this, right? And I ended up writing an article about that, and I actually got really good engagement on that article. You know, just because I read the terms and conditions of a lottery I read about. Right? But again, that's you having that mindset already and saying, oh, okay, yeah, let me look at this. Let me dig a little deeper. Oh, look what I found. What can I do with this? Right? So I would encourage you to kind of think about more of that methodology and think about, you know, what numbers mean when you come across them. Be suspicious of statements that involve numbers or some sort of quantitative value. How did they get that number? Why did they get that number? What was that number last year? So that's really all the things that come to mind, okay? Nimish, did you tell us where you're from? Let me know, Nimish. Akshat says, hey, I'm from India. Welcome, Akshat. Good to see you. Ahab says, YouTube has way more unhinged content. I think you're good. Well, thanks, Ahab. I appreciate that. But Casual Economist disagrees with you. Watch your swearing for the first 5 to 10 minutes on YouTube. They do flag that. Okay, well, I have plenty of content on YouTube. If one live stream gets flagged, I'll live. Akshat says, hey, I'm from India. Currently doing an internship in data science in a startup. Right now, I have bought a course and learning from that. How much should I be doing to get a job as early as possible? You know, guys, I keep on getting this question. I keep on getting questions about, I just started my program. I just started my master's. I want a job. I'd like you to consider that maybe you're not ready for a job yet. If you just bought a course, and I don't want to speak to the quality of the course, usually I'm not a fan of them, but why are you looking for a job? Maybe this isn't the right time for that, right? There's a time to learn and there's a time to work. If you just started and you just got a course, then work that. You know, be honest with yourself about your level of skill. That's another thing I talk about, you know, that I had to be honest with myself. Like, yeah, I wanted data science and I read this, you know, I read the book that inspired me and I made the commitment, but I sat myself down and say, okay, if somebody gave you a job right now for data scientist, would you be ready? And my answer was no, I would be a complete failure at it. So you got to be honest with yourself. I mean, are you ready for that? Take the time to learn. Get the academics under you. Okay? Schlock? I think it's Schlock. Schlock, let us know where you're from, okay? I am into web dev. However, I envy this AI ML world. It's developing at a super fast pace. I just use Gemini a lot and really looking forward to more AI stuff. Good. That's a good place to start. Web dev overall is also using AI quite a bit. If I was a CSS or an HTML developer right now, I'd be really scared. I'd be really, really scared. ChatGPT does excellent with CSS. Ahab says, to expand on the methodology versus tool discussion, what are some tech frameworks that you would feel confident recommending to all beginners? An example that comes to mind is Docker, for example. Ahab, you're asking a good question. I think it depends on what you mean by beginner. To me, Docker, honestly, it's almost like an advanced beginner, maybe even intermediate. The other part that's kind of giving me pause in your answer is because Docker is also like a I'm happy to be wrong on this. I'm happy to get you guys feedback on this, but I view it more as a deployment tool than it is like a development tool, right? Like Docker's a really convenient deployment tool, but not necessarily a development tool. Or a framework even, right? I mean, it's a framework for like your ML ops, but not for data science per se. You can use Docker for other things besides data science, right? But coming back to your first question, I think the first thing that comes to mind is Conda, right? Anaconda and Conda. And I just filmed the content for this. People get too caught up in learning the cloud, and I got to know Azure, I got to know Google, and I got to learn data science. Just work locally, right? Just work locally on your machine. And to me, one of like the beginner tasks is knowing how to create and manage a Conda environment. It's just a good practice for your own projects, right? Because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up, your libraries and all, and that's okay. That's totally standard. But to me, I think the answer is just Conda. Just learn how to manage your own environments on your local machine. And then within those environments, write some, good, solid Python code. Build those foundational data science skills. And then you can take those into Docker, right? And practice with Docker and all that, right? But to me, like Docker is, is like an advanced tool. But I think the most basic level is set yourself up with Python, use Anaconda or Conda, and learn how to do pip installs, how to do Conda installs, and manage your own environment. And that's it. That's it. Don't have to learn Azure, don't have to learn AWS, doesn't have to cost you anything by paying for a cloud service. Just do it locally. Just manage, your different Python environments. Set out to learn, get yourself a good book or whatever you want to do, and set out to do all your exercises in individual environments. Because that way you're learning the exercises, but then you're also managing your own Conda environments. Learn how to install pandas. Right? Like that's pretty basic, but critical. You gotta know how to do those things. So that's what I would tell you, Ahab. But again, I may be thinking about beginner in a different way than you're thinking beginner. But just basic stuff like that. Ravant says, "Hello, sir. Hello, Ravant. How are you? I think this might be your first time. Let us know where you're from, Ravant." Prasida, thank you for the introduction. Hello, this is my first connect. I recently moved to Dublin and currently on a career break. Came across your content and I like how you approach analytics. Well, thank you so much, Prasida. I think we all need to take a career break every once in a while, right? So I hope you're doing well in Dublin. If there's anything else you wanna include, please let us know. Any questions or whatnot. Mohammed, nice to see you. I know you're a great supporter and you always ask great questions. Do you like Robert Greene? Yeah, of course. Yeah. For those of you guys that don't know, I recommend the book Mastery by Robert Greene. It's the book that helped me find my passion in life. It just so happened that passion is data science. So I encourage people to read it. It's in a lot of my content. It's in my data science guide for students. Because I encourage you what I ultimately want everybody here to do is to follow their passion. It may be data science and maybe not. It might be data science, or maybe you want to start a restaurant. Maybe that's your passion, right? But, the book had a lot of influence on me. So if you want to read that book, Mastery by Robert Greene, change my life, change my perspective on a couple things. It changed my perspective on mentorships. Not all mentorships are good mentorships, right? So, yeah, I like Robert Greene. Highly recommend it if you want to check out his book, Mastery by Robert Greene. Mafood, hey, welcome back, Mafood. Good to see you again. Hello, Dennis. Have a good day, everyone. Yeah, I think we're off to a good day, Mafood. Thank you so much. Rahul says, yes, Docker is for deployment. I think so. Yeah, Rahul, I see it more as a deployment tool, right? Or, you can make the case that it's also a collaboration tool, right? It's convenient to share Docker across multiple teams. But is it exclusive to data science? No. Is it directly helping you with data science? Not always. It makes Python convenient, but not data science helpful, right? Rohit, okay, Rohit, I guess you switched over to YouTube, right? Rohit says, sir, I recently won a national hackathon related to AI and data handling. Oh, congratulations. How should I present it into a conversation or in the resume in an impressive way? And what are your thoughts on NVIDIA Docker? I have no idea about NVIDIA Docker. I haven't had the time to explore that. So I only comment about things I know about, right? So I can't comment on that. How should I present this into a conversation in the resume? Okay. So a couple of thoughts for you, Rohit. And you know what? I'm really glad you asked this question because I've been wanting to get a thought out there. And this is a good way to do it. So one, get an article, right? Publish an article on LinkedIn. Publish an article and talk about your hackathon win, right? How I won a hackathon by X. Like by doing what? I don't mean your name, right? But how I won a hackathon by doing deep EDA or whatever it is, right? And go ahead and write an article about that. Include the link to that article in your resume. As a hiring manager, I am likely to check that. Much more likely to check that than your GitHub. Right? So but here's the thing, and here's the piece of content I want to get out to all of you guys. And this goes for everybody. Here's the problem with the advice I just gave, and I want you to consider this in the future also. So I encourage you guys to publish. But keep in mind that not everybody in your interview process or when you go to get a job is going to be a technically minded person. All right? So you got to keep the tech talk as minimal as possible and keep the business talk as high as possible. Keep it digestible for everyone. People are so focused on passing the recruiter, passing the tech screen or whatever, but not everybody in that process is going to be technically minded. You don't want to lose those people. So as an example, the last time I was hired for like a large corporate job, I had like 7 rounds of interviews. Only 2 of those people were technically minded, right? 5 people wouldn't know what I was talking about if you just sat there and talked about, AI techniques, right? Like the coding side of AI techniques. When I hired my data scientists, at minimum, they would be 4 interview rounds. 2 of those would be with executives. You're going to lose the executives if you just talk like a math robot, right? So that's the challenge I see in your particular situation, Rohit. That, obviously if it's a hackathon, I'm assuming you're thinking about writing something really technical because that's what you had to do to win, right? You had to beat out other technical people, right? So it's going to be real tempting to do that. But try to avoid that because not everybody in your interview chain, in your interview panel, is going to be technically minded. So be mindful of that, okay? So, that's something I've been wanting to talk about because I hadn't really found the venue for that. But publish it, put it on your LinkedIn, and keep the context, the text, as accessible to everyone as possible. Very, very key, all right? Rahul says, I just got stuck 3 hours with dependencies from my GPU. Maybe I'm dumb, but it was so hectic. Oh man, I hear you on that. GPU dependencies are not easy sometimes. Woo. I hear you on that, Rahul. Yeah. I have an M1 Mac, and I've only fooled around a little bit with the GPU capabilities. I know it's like 10 times more capable than what I give it credit for. But yeah, I hear you on that. GPUs can be hard to work with sometimes. Peachy Flava, welcome. I think it's your first time in the chat. Let us know where you're from, please. We always ask people to introduce themselves, okay? Math Warp says, opinion on using ChatGPT and similar tools during the learning phase. Yeah, I'm for it. Math Warp or anybody else, if you want examples of that, feel free to come to my Sunday course. I am teaching this book. If you're not familiar with this book, you should be. We are doing it all with AI tools. We are not writing... Sorry, I knocked my own microphone. We are not writing our own code with it. We're using ChatGPT to write the code for us, right? And also, I'm a big advocate that, you know, using AI tools is how we as data scientists will work in the future. In fact, this coming Friday, I have a video being released on that. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am about this video. If you guys don't know, I'm doing a de-influencing data science series. I'm busting myths of all these idiot influencers out there. And AI will be a huge part of how we work in the future. Absolutely. So I have a video about that. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm totally for it. Now, to be clear, you said about during the learning phase. So yeah, to help you learn, to help you see what the code should look like, to help you understand what frameworks are available for the particular problem you have, great resource. I am not advocating fake it till you make it. I want you guys to be honest with your clients or in your work or in your interviews about what you are and what you are not capable of. So I'm not advocating dishonesty, but as a learning tool for something that's going to help you develop your skills, yeah, I'm for it. I mean, the time to start preparing to use AI is now. Because when I say that AI will be a big part of data science in the future, I'm saying like 2-3 years. I'm not talking 10 years from now. I'm talking like 2-3 years. Okay? So yeah, I'm for it, MathWork. I'm on board with that plan. Mafood, thank you so much for that. Look, guys, I mean, one, I've gotten a lot of growth, so I do my best to answer questions. 2, introduce yourself. You know, carry yourself like a professional. That helps. And 3, please don't spam my chat. If the question is there, I'll do my best to get to it. Unfortunately, you know, because of the growth, because of the number of people, some questions are going to have to go unanswered. But how you carry yourself, how you present the question, it counts a lot, all right? But please don't spam my chat. But thank you, Mafood, for mentioning that, you know, you're on the right track there. So Ahab, as a follow-up, says, the bar for beginner is dynamic, of course. I thought of Docker, even if it's mainly a deployment tool, because you mentioned end-to-end projects, and knowing how to deploy your models adds business value. Ooh. But here's the thing, Ahab, that's not what I want you to focus on when you write your articles. Like, when you write an article in the way I'm talking about for your portfolio, to try to get a job, to display your skills, like, Docker shouldn't be anywhere in your article. Like, they don't care. They want to know the measurable impact of the business value. But the business value is not Docker. The business value is what sales your algorithm increases by, right? I mean, that's the value. That's the business value. So yeah, be careful with that, Ahab. When I say business, yeah, just so everybody's clear on this, right? You guys know that I say put your articles out there and talk about the business impact. When I say business impact, I'm talking about from the result of your work onto sales, onto hours saved, onto fraud detected, onto fraud prevented, right? Not because I brought in Docker, it saved us 20% of development time. That's not business value. So maybe I should have been more clear on that. But when I talk about business value, I'm talking like to the business, not to the speed of your development time or something like that. Like, you shouldn't even mention Docker. Like, that shouldn't be anywhere in your article. Like I mentioned to you guys, when you're in these meetings and you're talking to them, one, you're only going to get about 10 minutes in front of the managing director. Two, they don't care how you got there. As long as you can say, here's the results I see, and we followed a good process to get there. That's it. Like, they don't care. It could be regression, it could be a neural network, it could be a bunch of monkeys that you trained. They literally do not care. Right? So, yeah, business value is not Docker. Okay? Like there should be like literally 0 vendors or tools mentioned in your articles. It doesn't matter. Aniket14, hello sir, I am from India and this is my first time here. Welcome Aniket, hope you're doing well. Ahab says, writing on LinkedIn is pretty cool. I started a series of what I learned today, but I've been lacking on consistency because some days I don't learn enough to write about. Yeah, that can be hard. Look, anything you're going to do daily, guys, is hard. It's hard. I mean, I do these streams daily because I'm on this quest to do 100 live streams. It's hard. It's super hard. So I hear you, Ahab, but you're a smart guy. You'll get there. You're consistently attending here. I know you're a participant on the Discord, which is great. So just keep at it. Anything in life is going to be hard, right? But if you guys are smart enough to be here, then you're smart enough to, persevere through whatever it is you want to do. Okay? So you guys are going to be just fine. Nishant says, I am hearing about modular coding. There are some influencers talking about switching from Jupyter to modular code. Okay. So first of all, if your influencer or whoever you're listening to is talking about Jupyter, don't listen to that influencer. They just told you they've never worked a day in their lives. Serious data science is not done in notebooks. I 100% guarantee you that. You do not do professional data science in notebooks. Maybe you can use it as a scratch pad, personal exploration. But the person working in Jupyter notebooks is a person who's never deployed a professional project in their lives. You have your IDE, and then you have your terminal or some way to execute that code, maybe on a remote server, maybe locally or whatever. So I stopped reading as soon as you said Jupyter. Whatever they're going to, modular coding, whatever they say, don't listen to them. They've never been out in the workforce. So I know that when I say that, people kind of get riled up because some of you have only worked in notebooks to this date, right? And I know that's common, but serious data science is not done in notebooks. You can't deploy a notebook. Notebooks aren't scalable. You can't really write a more programmatic approach in notebooks, right? Which you'll have to do in the future. There's a ceiling to the stuff that you can do in notebooks, right? As far as, the type and quality of code you can write. So, yeah, I mean, if your influencer is using Drupal notebooks, they've already lost, right? That's a fake influencer, and I don't care who it is. That's a fake influencer. Serious data science, professional data science, which is what I aim to teach, is not done in Jupyter notebooks. Guys, we have a government official in the house. Mr. Prime Minister says, hello, my name is Samuel from Ghana. I've been following you for a few months. I love your lectures. Oh, coming from the Prime Minister of Ghana, that is a tremendous honor. Thank you so much for being here. How do you address the government official? Your ambassador? What do you say to a government official? I know it's not like Your Majesty, but what do you say? I know there's a title for it. I just can't remember it. I'm an old man. I forget things. But thanks so much, Samuel. I really appreciate you being here. It's your first time. Welcome. Yeah, I get people who kind of follow me for a couple months. Maybe they don't want to join in. Maybe they're too shy. But thank you so much for introducing yourself, and I'm really glad to have you here. Shiva, let us know where you're from, okay? Arasi, let us know where you're from, please. Anis says, hello, Dennis. I am Anis from Algeria. I bought your book yesterday. Thank you so much. Appreciate your support, guys. I work in HR and I'm transitioning to data science, and I am very, very grateful for the content you make. The journey is hard, but it's worth it. Yeah, I think so too. Actually, Anis, come to think of it, I think you messaged me on YouTube, right? Yeah, I think I sent you the link to my video on how I made the mid-career transition, right? Your name rings a bell. I think that was you. Yeah, wonderful to have viewers from Algeria. I get a lot of viewers from North Africa for some reason, so that's cool. North Africa is a beautiful part of the world. And thank you so much for buying my book. Anis is referring to First Year in Data Science. If you guys go on Amazon, you can find it there. My pricing is accessible in most countries. And, if you like the style of how I teach here, the book is the same because I give the real world view. I mean, I've been in the field, I've managed teams, I've done models, I've worked for some large companies, so this is me giving you guys the real world view of how it's done. But yeah, Anis, I'm going to assume you're not the only person in the chat looking to make a mid-career transition. I do have people who reach out. It's not easy, but if it's calling to you and if you're passionate about it, then you'll be fine, right? And when you finally complete that circle, all that HR work you've done, all that business background you have behind you is going to help you so much. And it's going to just push you forward and forward. It's going to push you ahead of so many candidates, because so many candidates coming out of school do not have that business background. They're not business minded, but you are, right? So you're going to feel like you're behind now. But trust me, if you get there and you complete that journey, you're going to like leap bound ahead of people, because that business background is going to help you. I keep on sharing this story, guys. And, Anis, I'm going to share it with you just in case you haven't heard it. But I had dinner a couple weeks ago with my good friend. He manages a team at one of the largest financial companies in the US. He's a really good guy, really smart guy. And he told me, he said, I want to take my masters in data science people who I hire, and he gets candidates from all the top schools, and he wants to put them in junior analyst roles, like beginner level junior analyst roles, because they don't know anything. He says, I hire them and they don't know a thing coming out of school. Right? But Anis, somebody like you're going to jump to the front of the line. Right? It's going to feel like you're behind, but you're going to jump to the front of the line because you are going to have that business background, right? So keep at it. Keep at it. Like I said, I know it feels like you're behind now, but you'll be fine. Manoj says, please tell about the difference between data science models and system dynamics modeling, how both have an impact on business conclusion. Well, anything can have an impact on business conclusion, right? Analytics can have an impact on business conclusion. Causal relationships can have an impact on business conclusions. Don't get so caught up in the tools. Get caught up in the problem you're trying to solve. What is the use case that people have approached you with? And then decide the right tool for the job. Right? Because they approached you with a problem, and then your business conclusion is, we had this problem and we solved it by increasing sales by 10%. What happens in the middle is up to you. That's the work of a data scientist, right? But don't get too caught up in, should I use this? Should I use that? And get caught up in, here's the problem. Here's the solution we came up with, and then you decide the middle. That's your role. That's your job, right? So yeah, I mean, lots of things are business conclusion, and not everything's a data science problem, right? Rahul says, I'll take off now, Dennis. Have a good day ahead. Have a good day too, Rahul. Thanks for coming. I know you're a great supporter, so thanks so much. Ah, yes, that's the word I was looking for. So our Prime Minister from Ghana corrects me and says, it's Your Excellency. So Your Excellency, Samuel, thank you so much for attending. I hope everything is well in Ghana. Fraser, let us know where you're from, okay? Hypothetical World, I think it's your first time. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Dennis. I am Arun from India, and I wanted to ask, how much ML do you do as compared to data analysis and interpretation of data? How do you frame a project to business impact? Great question. How much ML do you do as compared to data analysis and interpretation of data? You know, it's possible that I'm misunderstanding your question, but I don't view them as a comparison or as a like you got to choose one over the other, right? For me, these are all steps in the same chain of methodology. It's all the same steps of methodology, right? So they're not like there's not a competition between them, right? Like one's not better than the other or whatnot, right? You want to do your EDA, which leads to data analysis, which can also lead to interpretation of data. Interpretation of data, you're maybe kind of doing at multiple stages in your process, right? Like there is no single stage of interpretation of data, right? There can be multiple stages. And then machine learning is just a tool, right? Maybe your solution is machine learning based, or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's analytics based. Maybe it's stats based, right? So yeah, I mean, they're all just kind of this kind of different possibilities in the same chain of events, but there is no comparison. Like, because from your question, I get the idea that you're asking for like a relative comparison, and there's steps in the methodology process, not mutually exclusive techniques, right? And then how do you frame a project of business impact? So I cover this in my book, right? There's multiple ways to do that. Is there a dollar value you can assign? Is there human hours you can talk about? And is there some sort of like, fraud or some sort of an event that's been prevented? In fact, I think that in my book, I refer to them as the close calls, right? Because some businesses use that term, the close calls, right? Are you able to show that you prevented fraud, that you prevented some sort of regulatory fine or regulatory problem, right? So I'm sure there's more than that, but these are the ones I included in my book because it's kind of industry specific, right? But direct dollar value, human hours saved, or close calls. You should be thinking about it in those three terms as far as potential business. Okay? So thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate everybody being here. Really appreciate your help and your support. It's been a big day with the 20,000 followers on Instagram. So thank you to all the new Instagram followers. I know that there's some of you who just like to listen, maybe are a little bit shy to participate. That's okay. Look forward to spending more time with you again. I stream every day, 1500 GMT. This coming Sunday is my last class on this book, the Introduction to Statistical Learning book. If you want to join us, please do so. If not, the previous classes are available on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure I have its own playlist for that. So take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.